Hello. Welcome to the 11th part of the necromancer's evolutionary traits. At the beginning of this part we see that William Everlast introduced himself to Andreas. Andreas also introduced himself. They sit and William says, "I'm sorry you had to come all the way here just for the initial settlement of the potion profits. I just wanted to talk to you in person. Since we're going to be working together from now on, you've become close friend of Lucia." Andreas says, "I have also been looking forward to meeting you. I'm grateful for all the help your daughter has given me and for providing me with such a good deal." William Everlast says, "You're the producer. Of course you're entitled to at least this much." Lucia says, "You should be grateful I'm the one who made sure you got that good deal." William Everlast gives him some papers and says, "Here, take a look." Andreas reads the paper and thinks, "So I get 60% of the profits. And each one is worth 3 million wills, so the final amount I get is over 1.8 billion. No, wait. Over 1,000 were sold in just a month? They're selling like hotcakes, so I'm sure the next sum you'll receive will be much bigger. Well, enough about business. Let's have dinner. This is the first time Lucia has brought a friend, so I'm looking forward to hearing your stories. Moreover, it's a boy." After that we see a month later. Andreas thinks, thanks to word of mouth, the Everlast potion has become very popular, not just for combat use, but it's also taking high society circles by storm. To increase production, the trading company decided to expand its suppliers and production facilities. I never would have thought it would sell over 2,000 units in a month. If I had known this was going to happen, I would have bought a tablet sooner. Honestly, I didn't think I could make so much money from the potion alone. Thanks to the potion's popularity, I've also received more support from the nobility. Now I have 6 billion wills on me. Cromwell's estate is worth 3.5 billion, including handling fees. Even if I buy it back, I'll still have plenty of money to spare." Announcement happens. It says, "Next stop, the National Cemetery. Hartful Station, the door on the right will open. But before that, I have to get the signet ring back." He gets to the graveyard. There is a masked man and the gravekeeper. Andreas thinks, who's that next to him? He says, "Welcome. Let's go inside and have some tea, yeah?" Andreas says, "And who's next to you?" He says, "This guy? I invited him to be the guarantor. I thought it might be necessary in order to avoid any problems later. Come, let's get inside first." They sit and have a cult of tea. Andreas thinks, a guarantor holding a sword and hiding his face? What a blatant lie. Andreas thinks, I know Paimon has been practicing necromancy here for a long time, but he's no better than Sharon back in the game, just a small fry. He sees his own stats window. He thinks, he's no match for me right now. Evolved Nickel can also use aura, so unless it's against someone at the aura master level, he can't be beaten. The only issue is how strong this masked guy is. Maybe I should have released the energy in my Danteon. I thought holding back just before that would be enough, but now I'm not sure. Paimon gives him tea and says, "Here. I ordered this tea from a guy I know in the congregation. It's pretty good. I'd like to talk about the signet ring rather than the tea, if you please." Paimon says, so impatient. Andreas says, "The corpse I bought from you is mediocre, but since you've been so accommodating, in exchange, I'll give you 5 million wills." Paimon says, "Look at you. You've become so great without me noticing, haven't you, Andreas? And generous, too, despite being rotten. You're still a count. But that's a tad harsh, isn't it? The price of secrecy isn't that cheap." Andreas says, "Are you saying I should pay more?" So typical of a villain. Paimon says, "Don't worry. I mean to trade it for the stuff you got at the congregation. I heard you got a lot of stuff. All you have to do is give me some of it. How's that? Not a bad deal for you, right?" Andreas drinks tea and says, "Well, I appreciate the offer. Let me be clear. 5 million wills. No more than that." Paimon gets angry and says, "Hey, brat. You don't sound like you get what I'm saying." Andreas says, "No. I know exactly what you mean. I know you never intended to make a fair deal in the first place." Masked Man says, "Paimon, I think we're done here." Andreas calls Nickel and says, "Sure. I was getting a little tired of all this charade. By the way, I just have one question." Status window appears saying, Sloth Phantom Legendary Nickel Life Hill, Undead Tier 5. Traits: self-awareness mastery, sword, spectral form sloth. Paimon says, do you really think you can beat me? I'll throw in extra money on top of what I promised you. Cut that shit up right now. And take his stuff. Nickel appears behind Paimon. Masked Man blocks the attack. Andreas is calm and watching the fight. Masked Man throws his coat with sticky bombs in it. Andreas thinks, sticky bombs, huh. I used to use those a lot in the game. Not only did he stop Nickel, but he also kept me in check. He's no ordinary man. Nickel gets hit. Nickel grabs the masked man from his feet and throws him, and uses sword aura. Andreas thinks, Nickel imbued his sword with an aura. After evolving and gaining a Danteon, it's not surprising to see that Nickel can use aura, but is the enemy really that tough? Who the hell is that guy? They both start to fight. Nickel gets pierced through the head. Nickel hits him in the face. He goes flying. Paimon grabs the masked man. He says, cough. Damn it. Paimon says, what are you doing, Dan? If you want the money, start pushing yourself harder. Andreas thinks, that bastard. He summoned the undead while I was distracted. Paimon says, that guy must be a phantom. Looks like you managed to get a nice corpse from the congregation. Paimon summons a lot of undeads and says, but let's see how long you can last against my finest. Don't you forget that we're standing on top of a mountain of corpses. Andreas thinks, we're completely surrounded. Nickel, let's split up for now. When the moment is right, we'll take Paimon's back. Andreas breaks the window and come out and starts to kill the undeads. But there are a lot of them. Andreas uses an earth shield. There's no end to them. Andreas uses stone spears. There are some archers. Andreas cuts the arrows and destroys them. Paimon says, what useless bunches, it's just one kid. Nickel tries to attack Paimon from behind. Masked Man blocks it. Masked Man put a sticky bomb on Nickel. Andreas is fighting them and thinks, shit, I don't even have the time to use the recovery potion. At this rate, things could get really bad. He gets really tired and thinks, where's Nickel? My whole body's going numb. It's as if every muscle in my body is being torn apart. He thinks, until Nickel is back. Can I hold on? An undead is about to hit him. Andreas barely blocks it. He gets hit and thinks, no way. Am I going to die here? At the hands of a mere skeleton knight? If I die here, what will happen to Amy? What about Lucia's illness? And Vivienne? I finally have a reason to live. I can't die like this. System says, through continuous training, talent, and fierce combat, Aura has been awakened. Danteon has been activated. Aura can now be used. Due to the dual core trait, both mana and aura can now be used simultaneously. Andreas thinks, I'm going back to where I belong. Achievement, Second Awakening has been achieved. The 11th part of the Necromancer's evolutionary traits ends here. If you want to see more, please subscribe and like. And if you want to support me financially, you can join my channel membership or Patreon only for $1. Patreon and Discord links are in the description if you want to support me. And a special thanks to all my Patreons for supporting me. Thanks for watching.